Hey everybody, welcome back to Grubby's Great Outdoors. You read that right. We're doing 2 briskets on 2 different kettles with 2 different devices all at one time. Why? So you don't have to. We're doing a head-to-head comparison today from S&S Grills Slow N Sear to FlameTech Grills Smoke and Sizzle. New device to the market. Now, we already know the Smoke and Sizzle costs less. You go to Amazon and see that right away. But does it do as good a job? We'll find out. Now, the Slow N Sear has been around since 2018. I've had mine since about 2020, 2021, something like that, and I've loved it. It's a fantastic device. As a matter of fact, I'll show it to you right here. This is what it looks like. Actually, I'll do a video. I'll put a video right here, a link to a video right here where I did this already. I showed you a bunch of different devices for the Weber Kettle, but while we're doing it and comparing it, I want to show you again. This is your water tray. This is actual Slow N Sear. Your charcoal goes right here. It's filtered so your charcoal burns and it filters through, it keeps the airflow good and solid through there. Works out great. It's a perfect device, done great. Now, I will say that you can tell, if you can see in the video or not, this water tray has warped some. You can tell that it has done that just over time from hot water versus cold water versus hot charcoal. It makes it warp. So there's a little bit of fault on that, but other than that, it was a great job. Now let's take a look at the Smoke and Sizzle. The Smoke and Sizzle is all one piece. The Slow N Sear, I didn't mention that you have to buy a water pan, or you don't have to, but it's wise to have a drip pan to go with it. Separate purchase. The Smoke and Sizzle all is one piece. You have your water, it goes right here. Your charcoal barrier here doesn't warp nearly as easily because it's all one piece. It's not separated like that, so it works really well for that. Plus, you add a little bit more water, I think. I'll find out. I'm not sure on that, but I'll find out how much water I can add. It's a quart, I think you can add it to the Slow N Sear. Looks like maybe a quarter, a little bit more than you can do with the Smoke and Sizzle. So, once again, same 16 gauge steel. Both of them are very well made, very strong, very stout. Looking forward to using this. Now, I want to go ahead and get the briskets trimmed up and seasoned with salt and pepper. That's what I'm going to do is salt and pepper on these. 3 parts pepper, 2 parts salt. And that's all I'm going to put. Put the same thing on both. Briskets weigh about the same. They're both about 15 pounds. We'll get them trimmed up and seasoned up, and we'll put the Smoke and Sizzle and the Slow N Sear in their kettles each. Show you how that works, and we'll go from there, guys. We'll be back shortly. All right, guys, here we are with the Slow N Sear, getting it set up, and this is the device here. We're going to put, take it out of here for a second and show you it. I'll put it, it goes into 1/2 of the kettle, slides up under there. We're going to start the charcoal I've got here in this basket, in the lighter chimney. Take some of the half of those and put them in here once they get lit and grate over and you know, well burning. Put half of them about here in the corner, and then fill the rest of the Slow N Sear up with charcoal. Fill the water tray here with water. Put a grate on, and then, or I'm sorry, before we put the grate on, we'll put this drip pan on this other side where the chimney is right now. It'll be underneath there to actually cook over top of it. So that'll be your drip pan, your catch pan, what have you. As always, I'm fighting the rain here a little bit, so bear with me if I run off. But we'll also, of course, we'll add these wood chunks throughout the charcoal as well, so we get some good smoke flavor. This is post oak wood. We'll use that to get some good flavor on there. Post oak wood's my favorite wood, period. As a matter of fact, when I went to Franklin's Barbecue, I got there first thing. My wife and I were there first in line that morning, and I sat there just enjoying the smell of that post oak burning at about 5 o'clock in the morning. It was wonderful. I've always used post oak for anything beef. But to smell it there with 5 1,000-gallon smokers at Franklin's Barbecue is a lot of smoke, and it smelled fantastic. So, matter of fact, I got a picture I'll show you right now of me standing there with Aaron. We got to meet him that day, and then also a picture of the smokers he has in his smokehouse. So, pretty neat experience. But anyway, I've always loved post oak since then, so I pretty much use it always on anything beef. But yeah, here we go. So that's actually the Slow N Sear. How we'll set it up. We'll get it going. We'll start the charcoals here in just a minute. We've got the briskets inside getting warm, kind of getting up to room temperature or closer to room temperature. And we'll bring them out and get them on once we get these going. So now I'll show you how we set up the Smoke and Sizzle. So the Smoke and Sizzle is a little easier setup. It's just this one piece. This is the water pan, as you know, and I told you previously this is where the water goes, and also your drip pan catches. You fill this side over here with charcoal. So I'll take half those charcoals we light in the chimney, and put half in that one corner, either corner, and fill the rest up with charcoal, and of course wood blocks, post oak as well. Put our grate over top of it, and we're ready to go. But that's all there is to it. Just add some water to this, get the charcoal going, get it up to temp. We'll wait until we get to temp, and actually the massive smoke you have at the beginning burns off. We get to a good, even, smooth smoke, and we'll put the briskets on. So I'll bring you back when I get ready to put them on, and let you see the briskets, and we'll put them on the kettles here. Hey folks, I never really told you about the pricing. I want to do that so you understand how much these things cost. So the Slow N Sear, when I bought mine back in 2021, I had to buy the Slow N Sear Deluxe as well as the drip pan. The two of those combined was about $173 based on my history in Amazon. I went and looked it up just a little while ago. So it was $173 I paid for them back in 2021. Now it's on sale right now. The Slow N Sear is this is the deluxe model. They call the deluxe model. It has the filtered bottom, the slotted bottom, as well as the removable water tray. You can actually get it right now for about $99 plus the drip pan. So you look about $150, $160. So it's a little bit of a discount right now. Or it has a discount on it. Now there is a lesser model. This is the deluxe. The other ones just have an open bottom and they have a welded in water tray. There's not removable. So, and they think they're $69 plus buying a drip pan as well. The drip pan that I have is not on sale. It's still $52, $53. So that, yeah, you're looking at about $160 roughly for the Slow N Sear setup. Now for the Smoke and Sizzle setup, the one piece, $64.99 is all it costs right now, and that's I think their average normal price is $70, $74. It's on sale right now for $64.99, and with the discount I can provide you at the end of the video, you'll get it for less than $60. So hang in there, wait for that discount code, and I'll share that with you at the end of the video, and you can get into this thing for less than $60. All right, guys, back shortly. Well, as is per the case usually, as of late at least, the rain has run me in the garage. So I got the charcoal set up and going into the both kettles here. This is the one with the Smoke and Sizzle. You'll see I've got some post-oak chunks throughout there as well. But I wanted to show you this before we get going with the briskets when we put them on. That's what it looks like beforehand, and then we'll go over here and we'll look at the other one. Here is the Slow N Sear. There's wood chunks in there as well. They're not as visible as the other ones, but they're definitely down in there. So we will add this drip pan. We'll actually do that now. Our drip pan's in. So we're now waiting for the rain to stop. Also for us to get the temp, we're gonna close these up and get the temp, get our thermometers in there, and get the temp on these guys, and we'll get on. Hey everybody, listen, I want to show you this real quick. This is where I've just gotten the kettles going. This rain's kind of held off, so I pulled them back out of the garage, and you can see the massive amount of smoke, especially the one on the right. That is the Slow N Sear side. Not that that's causing it, I'm just saying that's the side that is. The right-hand side is the Slow N Sear. Now they're both right around 213, 214 degrees. I want to get about 225, so I've shut the damper down to help kind of slow the temperature slow it down quite a bit. But I got to get this initial smoke burn off out of there. That's just way too much smoke to be sticking a piece of meat into. So it's very typical with the Weber Kettle that this happens. So you got to just kind of wait it out. And once it starts calming down a little bit and gets past this initial burn in, it'll be really smooth sailing from then on. So that's where we're at right now, around 215. I shut the damper down a little bit, and we'll get them on as soon as it gets around 225. All right, guys, the smoke is starting to calm down some now, so we're going to put the briskets on. Now, this is the Slow N Sear side. We've got see that brisket we've got there turned up pretty nicely. Got a big chunk on the decal mohawk side, but it's we'll put that towards the fire so it kind of protects it a little bit. Well, the other one's a little bit bigger. I'm afraid it's not going to fit. We're going to have to work it out and see if we can get it to fit. But that one's on, ready to go. We were at 221 when I took this off, the lid off, so it's going to climb back up to that temp and get there close soon. Now we'll do the Smoke and Sizzle side. Like I said, this rascal is a little bit bigger. Pretty long one. This is right at 224. Let's just see the temperature where we're going to put it on right now. It's right where we want it to be. We gotta wait a second to get the smoke out of my eyes. Now we're gonna hope this thing fits on here pretty well. We'll see if we move the thermometer around a little bit. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, we'll be all right. Good deal. Okay, it's good. Again, we put that decal and mohawk side towards the fire, so it gives a little bit of a cushion there, a little protection. And we'll get our thermometer replaced here. If I can get to it. There we go. All right, guys, we're ready to go. We're rocking and rolling. We got 2 briskets on. Right at 225 is where I'm going to try to keep it best I can. Usually I'm okay with 225 to 250, but because these are pretty thick in the mohawk area, I'm going to try to go 225 at least 2 or 3, 4 hours, and then start bumping it up a little bit from there. So we'll check back in here in a couple hours and see how they're doing. May spritz. I probably won't have to, obviously, with the water pans that I have in there. I may have to refill the water pans, but I don't think I'll spritz at all. So I'll be back here in a little while. We'll check in. We'll do a couple check-ins before we wrap them. Now, I don't, just so you know, guys, I don't wrap to a certain temperature or a time. I do it for feel. So when the fat is rendered down to where I can kind of pop the fat with my finger, kind of breaks through, little fat oozes out, I know it's rendered, I'll wrap then. Typically that's closer to 180 for me. I get through the stall a little bit, if not all the way, before I wrap it. That's the way I do mine, and that comes out, that just makes me more patient. I gotta be patient. And so I think that's the number one thing with people with smoking meat is being patient. So that makes me be patient with it, and I wait till it gets to that point, then I wrap it. And then we'll go from there. So I'll be back though, and we'll check in 3 or 4 hours and see how it's going. All right, guys, see you in a bit. Hey everybody, well, it's been about 4.5 hours now. We've not looked one time. This one, the Smoke and Sizzle, is running a little bit hot, running close right at 250. So we're gonna take a look at it and see how it's looking. Close the damper down a little bit and go from there. So let's take a look here for the first time, see if we can see what's going on here. Oh wow, it looks really good. So it looks really good. Like I said, it's got the fat's not rendered yet. It's nowhere near ready, but it sure is looking really good. Got a really good looking crust mark on it. I like the way it's looking so far, definitely. Getting a little hot over here. I may put a piece of foil right here, just as a guard. Slide it this way some. A lot I can do, but I will do that. I've not got gloves on, but I'll actually pull it this way some and drain some of this juices off here so it doesn't wash my rub off. But man, it's looking really, really good. Got a great color. Very pleased. I got tons of charcoal left. We got well over half our charcoal left. So we'll get it covered back up here and go check on the one with the Slow N Sear. So let's go over here and look at this one. See how the one with the Slow N Sear is doing now. It's running right at 225 on the butt. These little bags out here in case it starts raining. So I keep them in the bags to keep them from getting wet. But let's take a look at this one too. Oh, wow, also looks really, really good. Good right there, I think. I'm real pleased with the color of it. It's got a real good bark on there as well. Man, it's looking good. Very pleased. Looks very, very juicy, very, very moist. Still a ton of charcoal left there as well. Not quite as much as over there, but there was more in the Smoke and Sizzle to begin with. So the fact there's more in there tends to mean there's going to be more left, obviously. But this has got some in there for sure. It's not running out or anything. It's just not as much as the Smoke and Sizzle does. So, nonetheless, we've got to add some water here. I didn't think to look at the water over in the smoke. I'll look at the water here in a minute too, see if we need to add more water. But so far, so good. Looks really good. I'm pleased with both of these. So we come back to the Smoke and Sizzle side. We're going to drain this off a little bit. Get some of those juices off there so they don't take our bark off. But there's plenty of moisture left in the bottom of this pan here, the water pan, drip pan. Looks great as far as that goes. We're going to scoot this over a little bit. That's hot, very hot. We're going to scoot it over a little bit. I'll put some foil there just as a basic shield. Just as high as the brisket, not too high, just as high the edge of the brisket there. I'm very pleased, guys. This looks fantastic. As you can tell, I think you guys can see how good it looks. I got that little juice right there from that little low spot. That seems to be one of the spots I'm trying to keep from losing our bark on. But once this fat right here renders, God, it's so hot. Once that renders a little bit, it'll be time to wrap. We're nowhere near wrapping yet. Our thermometer reads a little high because I think it's in a fat seam. I want to take it out and move it around a little bit too, but it's too hot to touch right now. I'll get some other gloves and do that. And move it somewhere else because it's just too hot to the fat. I know it's not that hot inside the temperature. It says it's 170 something. It's nowhere near 170, but I'm sure it's in a fat seam. That happens sometimes. So I'll pull it out and reposition it and we'll go from there. But I'm real pleased with the Smoke and Sizzle so far and the Slow N Sear both. Looking great. All right, folks, like I said, I put the foil in here just as a cover for that edge. It's getting a little too hot, and I put the temp spike in the top as opposed to the side. It went down into the middle of the meat. Hopefully I got to a better spot. We'll check the thermometer when I go inside the gauge on it. But this foil will just protect it from getting immediate burn of that heat. It'll help protect that getting too much color. So looking good though, guys. We'll move on to back to the Slow N Sear and see how it looks now, and add some foil to it as well if we need to. Well, as you can see, guys, I did add some foil to the one with the Slow N Sear just on the edge right here. See, it's getting some color, a little too dark right there for me, so I want to cover that up just enough to keep the initial heat from hitting it. So I'll be back when it's probably time to wrap them. I'm thinking probably another 3 or 4 hours at least before I go to wrap. Maybe even longer, but we'll be back when we do. See you guys then. Okay, guys, now we've been about another 3 hours, so I'm going to go ahead and check these and see how they feel, see if the fat's been rendered, or I've not looked since we last looked. So let's check it out and see how this one looks. This is one of the Slow N Sear. We'll take a feel of it. It's okay. This back end where the point is, of course, feels pretty rendered, but not so much there. Let's check the temperature here on this one. 165, 175. Back here will be pretty high because it's in the point. 175 as well. So, and this feels pretty rendered back here, but the point, the flat does not. Showing 173 in the flat actually, so it does a little tough. So we probably could wrap this one. I believe we can wrap this one. I think we will wrap this one and go ahead and get that one wrapped. Very pleased with it too. Done a great job. There's still some charcoals left, not nearly as many, but it's still cooking pretty good here. But we'll go ahead and get this one wrapped and we'll put it back on. So we're back in a minute and show you how we wrap this one. Hey everybody, I do want you to see how the Smoke and Sizzle is working as far as the volume of charcoal. So this end, this all area right here is still not even being used yet. All the gray area is what's been burned up, of course, but I mean, we've still got at least about maybe a third, at least a quarter of what we started with. And we've been cooking for about 7.5, 8 hours now. So it's done really, really well. I'm very pleased with it. It's got a good 3 hours probably left of, two to 3 hours left of charcoal there. So I'm very, very impressed with how the Smoke and Sizzle's done consumption-wise of charcoal and kept temperatures really good. So here's our brisket. I'll take the temp probe out. We'll put it back in after we wrap it here. Now I always take some of this beef tallow, Wagyu beef tallow, and put some on the brisket. And you put some underneath as well. This has been pretty juicy briskets. I'm not really concerned about getting too much tallow on here, but I want some. I think it helps a little bit with the moisture content, of course. What I'll do with this now is I'll take my spritzer and I'll just spritz the paper here a little bit to get it wet. That makes it much more pliable and easy to maneuver with, because this stuff can be a real bugger when you go to bend it and wrap with it. So as you'll see, same thing on this side. It's pretty important, guys, to get this as tight as you can get it. It really helps a lot with cooking time. I'm gonna put it back on the same way it came off. I want fat cap up. So there's fat cap down. There's fat cap up. And the rest of this I'll just fold underneath. Now I have a well wrapped brisket to go back on the smoker till it gets to 100% tender, which I'm guessing will be around the 203, 205, could be as high as 207 or 210, but we will check it as we go. But we're looking really good right now, so I'd say another 3 or 4 hours I'm ready to come off here. So we'll put it back on and we'll be back in just a bit, guys. Hey folks, I want to jump back on here real quick and let you know I did remember to add the temperature probe. I forgot it first, but I did remember to do that before we closed out here. But I also tell you that I'm not going to show you the wrapping of the second brisket. There's no point in that. It's just redundant. The exact same thing I just did. So after these guys are done, I'm going to guess another 3 or 4 hours probably after I get them wrapped. I want to guess around 203, 205 degree temperature range is when they'll be finished. Now, I don't go by time or temperature. That's just a range. I definitely go by how they feel, and I'm going to probe them as long as they feel like butter everywhere, the flat, the point, the best I can everywhere. I will then pull them off and put them into my warming cabinet. Warming cabinet, I'll put them about 150, 155, and they will rest for 12 to 15 hours. So the next time I see you guys will be taking them out of the warming cabinet and trying them out tomorrow and seeing how they did. Now, the way I kept them separate was I put a white, I have the temp spikes from Thermopro. One's black and one's white. The dual pack, one's black, one's white. So I want the white one is in the Smoke and Sizzle, the black one is in the Slow N Sear. That's how I'm keeping them separate in my mind. So when I go to open them up, we'll be able to see how we did and how they look and see if there's a big difference or not. So I will see you guys when we get ready to taste them. All right, guys, see you in a bit. Well, folks, we get to the final clip and lose audio, of course. So here we are doing a voiceover. But nonetheless, the battle of the two devices is finished. The OG Slow and Sear versus the new kids Smoke and Sizzle is over. Didn't know what to expect. Didn't really expect anything different in the result of the cook, meaning that, whether it's more juicy or more tender. I was looking more so looking for a reason as to why I would spend $100 more on the Slow and Sear versus the Smoke and Sizzle, and you'll have that answer momentarily. But first, we're gonna look at the two briskets and make sure there's no major obvious differences in the two. Once we get them cooked and or have them finished here, make sure there's no obvious differences in the two. They both finished around 205 degrees. They smoked at about 225 the entire time. The last couple hours, I moved it up to about 250 to 275 after we wrapped it. The last couple hours of that. Then we rested them at about 150 degrees for 13 hours, and here they are. So this first one's going to be the one we're looking at. Will be the Slow and Sear. It looks great. It felt great. It's very juicy. Prime grade brisket. We ended up throwing a few more briquettes into the Slow and Sear to finish off as we got near the end, and we had to actually add more water to the tray. So there was nothing majorly wrong, but we just keeping that in mind, we had to add some more briquettes and add some more water to make it do its thing. So here we are bringing the brisket out the wrap, and it's got a good jiggle on it, to say the least. It was very, very good brisket. It was very tender, very juicy, as you'll see here in a minute when I get it cut. We're very pleased with the whole thing. It went really, really well. The cook did on both of these. So, but this is the one from the Slow and Sear. So we're going to cut it here in the middle. I try to find a good spot here to cut it because the flat and the point kind of overlap each other. I'm trying to catch it right in the middle a little bit, and I'm kind of look to make sure I get it really, really good spot. So, nonetheless, here we go. We're going to cut it open and take a look at it, and we'll zoom in a little bit and see how it looks after we get it cut. And there we go. Beautiful smoke ring, major juicy. Just a really good job with this brisket. It really came out good. With the Slow and Sear doing it, I thought it did a wonderful job. Again, I didn't expect much differences in the two cooks based on the results from tenderness and juiciness. I was looking more so, is there any shining or big differences in the two in the functionality of the two? So I'm actually going to cut a piece of the flat here from the Slow and Sear piece, and also a piece off of the point. My goal is, you'll see, I'll actually cut some from both briskets to try some, both the point and the flat from both devices, and try them out. And I probably will skip some of this for you guys and jump forward, just because you don't have to worry about seeing all this. But you'll see how tender it is, how juicy it is, how it comes out great. So I'll jump forward now to the. Actually, we cut open the Smoke and Sizzle brisket as well, so you can look at that. So hang in there. We'll just jump right to that here in a second. And through the magic of video editing, we are now looking at the opening of the Smoke and Sizzle brisket. Notice I've got two pieces already laying up there. One of those is the point and one is the flat from the Slow and Sear brisket. So here's the Smoke and Sizzle brisket. Again, it was wonderful, tender, juicy. Very pleased with the outcome of this one as well. Both of them just did fantastic jobs. It was a real pleasure to use both of these things, as far as making some really good briskets. Again, I'll cut this in half and look for the kind of where the point meets the flat, and cut it off there, and then get a piece of each, this flat and the point, a slice of each to try. At this point, I even know that we're not worried about the taste being much different, or one being done better than another, as far as we're looking more so at the functionality of the two. But we still want to try them to make sure there's nothing glaring. So I'll get a slice of the flat here, and then we'll get a slice of the point as well, and give it a try. Jump forward a little bit here. Now I'm cutting a slice of the point off of the Smoke and Sizzle brisket, so we'll have all 4 slices ready to try. And there's a lot of brisket laying there, guys. There's about probably 25 pounds of brisket laying on that table. Well, that's before the shrink. It's that they were both, like I said, 15 pounds. So they're probably about 12 pounds after trimming. And so there's probably about, I don't know, 8 or 9 pounds of brisket laying there. We'll try a bite of each, and we'll see how they do. And kind of redundant, but nonetheless, we just want to double check everything. And I'll tell you what, guys, this was fantastic brisket. I probably could have put a little more pepper on there. But it was actually very tasty, very tender, very juicy, very smoky, a great smoky post oak wood smoke flavor. I was very pleased with that on both of these devices. There's wood smoke is wood smoke, no matter how you get it on there, and neither one of those devices has much to do with how well they'll smoke. So that there's no variances there at all between the two devices, but nonetheless, we'll double check everything. So that was the point and the flat from the Slow and Sear. Now we'll try a bite from the point and flat of the Smoke and Sizzle. And like I say, I'm not expecting much difference at this point. And now I know that there's not much difference. It was very obviously very similar tasting briskets. There's not much difference in the two. So I tell you that the biggest thing was the functionality of these devices. Like I said, I don't know that I did expect anything different than what we got. So I would say, I guess the biggest thing, guys, is that the Slow and Sear did require some more charcoal. It doesn't have as much space for charcoal. It's actually the one on the right of your screen. That's the Slow and Sear, and you'll see the basket there that it uses to hold the charcoal. So it's limited just to that basket there, and height wise to the grate. We did overfill it a little bit, and the grate wouldn't even shut flat. So it would had plenty in there, but it's just not the space that the Smoke and Sizzle allows for the new device. So I would say that that's one of the main things is the amount of charcoal you can fit in it. Now we're looking at the Smoke and Sizzle, and the one thing I'll say about it that was a little troublesome was the water pan was wonderful, but when you go to get it out, it's very full, and you have to pull it. You have to have somebody to get it out. Now, the difference in the two is that I have that ridge there I'm holding on to right now to pull the Smoke and Sizzle out of the device, which makes it much out of the kettle. Which makes it much easier to get rid of the juices in the drip pan that you need to get rid of. Otherwise, you're spilling it all in your kettle. The Smoke and Sizzle, the Slow and Sear has a drip pan that's very hard to get a hold of. It's just one I have that I've purchased, and makes it very hard to get a hold of and take it up out of the kettle when it's full of drip, juices and drips. So I would much rather have the Smoke and Sizzle in that regard, because you have a grip basically where that charcoal barrier is to use as a grip to get it out of the kettle with. So very handy. Now, I would say that's probably the biggest difference. If it were me right now at this point in time, guys, I would definitely choose the Smoke and Sizzle for those reasons. Well, I think functionality of use is much easier to use. The Smoke and Sizzle is. It holds more charcoal. It's easier to handle within the device. It's just one piece. Within the kettle, it's just one piece you're putting in there, and it's also about $100 cheaper. And I promised you a code, and I'll give you that code now. So there's a link in the description below that you can click on that takes you straight to the link that I provide, and the code I provide, that gets you that 10% discount. So you get it for less than $60. So that code is the word grumpy. If you will pick select the link below, it'll take you straight to that, and you'll get that discount. Just make sure that the code is grumpy. So I would utilize that if I was you guys. I love the Smoke and Sizzle. I think it does a great job. Especially if you have neither one of these devices. If you already have a Slow and Sear, there's no need for one. But if you don't have anything to use, the Smoke and Sizzle is definitely a route to go. So, guys, I appreciate you very much. I hope you would like, and please do subscribe to our channel. We're looking at a little bit of a subscriber drive, so hope you do. Thanks, guys. See you next time.